Hi, this is Srihari from Algorithm Class Training Institute. I am the consultant Python programming trainer here. Today I would be giving overview of what is Python programming and then the course content which we are going to teach here. Python was developed by Rossum the late 80s at National Research Institute in Netherlands. Python is derived from many languages. So you can say Python is mix of all other languages. With Python, we can do structured programming like C. We can do object-oriented programming like C++, or we can do automate the things like Unix shell scripting or Python scripting languages. Python is copyrighted, so Python is open source. Code is now available under the GNU. So let us discuss few features of Python. Python is a beginner's language, so Python is easy to learn, and that would be very easy for beginners to start their career in programming. Easy to learn. Python has very few keywords and even its syntax is very easy. Easy to read. So code is more clearly visible to eyes because of its indentation. So with Python we can do structured programming like C, where we concentrate more on solving the problem, where we will divide our problem into multiple parts and we will write separate function for each part to get the overall solution for the problem. Or we can do object-oriented programming like C++ or Java. So we can take advantage of features like inheritance, operator overloading, data hiding, whatever the features are there in object-oriented program. And we can do automate the scripts. We can do automate means whatever the things we are doing manually, we can write a program so that that program will take care of whatever we have been doing manually. So structured programming is designed with which focuses on process, logical structure, and then data required for that process. Object-oriented programming is designed with which focuses on data. Python is interpreted language. So Python reads each instruction from your program and executes immediately. So like C programming, where we need to compile the program, so that program would be converted into object form, then that would be linked with libraries to get the overall final executable. But here, just write the program and pass that program name to interpreter. So your interpreter will take each instruction from the file and it can execute. So Python is interpreted. No intermediate steps to get executables are required. So you can run the Python programs either interactive mode or scripting mode. So in interactive mode, Python interpreter reads and executes command interactively. We can give a command and we can wait for the response, and then interpreter again prompts you to enter the next command. Then you can give again one more command and it will execute it, and it will again waits for you to enter the next command. So like this we can execute the commands one by one. So another mode where we can write all the instructions in one file and we can pass on that to your Python interpreter. So Python interpreter reads each instruction from the file and it executes. So passing the file to interpreter is called scripting mode. So Python supports data types definitely, But we will not bother about declaring what is the type of the data you are going to store in your data structure. So you will just assign the data, and its variable name would be decided, type would be decided depending upon its data, what you are assigning to it. So data types are there here also, like in other languages, integer, float, all those data types are there. But we will not bother about that. The interpreter will decide depending upon what arguments, what values it's getting. Automatic garbage collection. So in Python, we need not explicitly allocate and deallocate storage. On the fly, whenever the memory is required, it would be allocated. So whenever it is not needed, it would be deallocated. So that depends on the reference count. Here one more concept is there here, the reference count. When that reference count for a variable reaches 0, the reference count is nothing but when an object is assigned, okay, that memory is pointed by how many variables. So when that variable is when that block is pointed by one particular variable, we can say that reference count is 1. When the variable is not pointing to the allocated memory, then we can say reference count for the allocated object is 0. Whenever that allocated blocks reference count reaches 0, so automatically garbage collector will deallocate the memory. Another big advantage of Python is it has very rich set of libraries. Okay, so Python's bulk of the library is very portable and across platform compatible on Windows and different operating systems. So Python has so many built-in modules. Because of that, it is getting more popular nowadays. So whatever the area field you see, so we are preferring Python because of its rich set of standard modules. So Python is fast. Yes, it is. It is definitely fast, but it is a little bit slower than C and C++, because in C we have everything in our hand. We can write, we can manipulate with the memory, everything through pointers and all. So even though those concepts are not there, but still Python is fast, but not as fast as C or C++. Python code is portable, so we can write Python program and we can execute the same program without any modification on different platforms like other operating systems. If you write in Windows, same program will work on Linux. So and other ways also. Python is nowadays used in many fields. So that could be for automation and testing, or designing any gaming. Now Python is preferred in data science comparing to other languages like C or C++ or Java, even though C++ are much more efficient, faster than Python. The reason is it has so many built-in modules related to data science. Same thing, if you can definitely do better with C, but still Python is preferred. Only reason is so many things are built in. So we need not develop everything from scratch. For example, if you want to work on some machine learning algorithm, so if you use C, you have to first implement that machine learning algorithm, then you can work on top of that. So that implementing that machine learning algorithm itself will take much time. But if you use say Python there, in Python related algorithms might be already implemented. You can get it. So on top of that, you can use it. So our work would be definitely reduced. So that is the reason in Python related to machine learning or data prediction or any other different fields, many built-in functions are there, like pandas, data frames, or operating on Excel sheets, predicting some data, neural networks, all these things. Big data. So even we have so many rich set of libraries here related to mathematical computation, scientific computation. So all those things would be used to handle big data. So even we can connect to databases. So using Java, we connect to database using JDBC. So similar thing we can do with Python also. For example, if you consider Oracle database, we can definitely connect to the database. There is a simple driver module supported by Oracle. So we can get it and use it. So like CX Oracle. So you can get it and use it, and we can use the APIs provided by Oracle. So for example, if you want to connect to the database, there might be some connect API. Just give the arguments like username, password, and the connection descriptor. Then it will connect you to the data. From there, you can issue the commands and you can get back the results from the database, and you can manipulate locally using Python program. So you can design GUI applications. There are some modules like a TK Inter, where we can have support for built-in buttons or text boxes or input boxes, all those things. So we can get those buttons and we can design beautiful GUI application. So when you click on some button, we will do some backend processing and we can display again the result back onto another GUI interface. Okay, so even that is much more easier. So Python could be used in network and distributed environments. So if you want to connect to different machines in networking, distributed environment, so we need to follow OSI protocol. Okay. So related to that, we have so many modules in Python like sockets. So if you want to do socket programming, how to establish those connections, client server, client side, what kind of protocols or what kind of methods you need to invoke, and server side, what kind of methods you need to invoke. So those things are supported using some modules like sockets. We can do parallel programming with Python. We can start multiple threads and we can assign separate function for each of the thread to execute, so that we can reduce the runtime. So we can increase our program efficiency. Even Python could be used in even web development also. So there is a framework here like Django. So Django is a framework which coordinates Python for backend processing and HTML to display any web page on web browser. And if you want to maintain any database, so you can maintain database. So there is a framework called Django, which coordinates all these components. Like Python is a different language, SQL or HTML. This framework coordinates all these components to get your web application working. So Python can be integrated with many other languages. So there are many different versions or wrappers related to different languages are provided. For C, there is a C Python. For Java, we have Jython. So like that, for different languages, we have already built-in wrappers. So if you are familiar with one of these languages, then it is easier to write Python programs to integrate with these languages. So nowadays, Python is used in many top companies like Google, Yahoo, Mozilla, Dropbox, Microsoft, Cisco, Quora. Okay, yeah. So now let us see what is the course content we are going to teach here. When you see all the features what we discussed till now, with Python we can do structured programming, object-oriented programming, scripting, and there are a lot of modules to support to work on different areas like data science or developing web applications and everything. So it is very difficult to learn all these languages or components at a time. So that's the reason we divided our course into multiple parts. So in one part we are we are calling Python scripting. So in this, basically, we will be concentrating more on these four parts. One is basics, object-oriented programming, and scripting. So finally, Python is a programming language. We need to know various ways like structured programming, how to do with Python, object-oriented programming, how to do with Python, or scripting and automation. So once you are good at these areas, okay, other section is modules. So it is just get the built-in functions and use it to get your task done. In basics, if you see, for any programming language, if you see C, C++, or Java, or any other language, so basic things would be there like data types, operators, branching, loops. So here if you see lists, tuples, sets, dictionaries. These names might be a little bit new, but it is these are like because everyone knows C programming. So these are like C languages, arrays and structures. So we have different, not exactly, but they are like almost like arrays and structures. So we will see because data structures is very important topic in any programming language. So data structure means any structure that you are taking to store the data. So we should know what are the different data structures are there and what are the advantages and disadvantages, where and when to use which data structure. So those things you can come to know only when you explore each structure. And if you take any basic data, any data structure, basic operations would be only three: insertion, deletion, searching, only these three operations. So when you are only doing these three operations, why do you want to learn different data structures for doing only these three operations? So one data structure would be much more suitable for particular scenario. So we should understand the data structure. What is the advantage? Where to use? Where to use and when to use? When will you come to? When can you decide this? When you know the advantages and disadvantages, then only you can decide. Okay, this is my particular scenario. Maybe taking this structure would be much more useful comparing to other structures. So that's the reason data structures are very important for any programming language. So this section we are saying basics, and second one is object oriented. So like C++ or Java, we have so many features in Python also related to object oriented programming. So we will 90% of the features are there. We will be looking at all these features with hands-on. So third section is scripting and automation. So if you want to automate the things, then you definitely need to know what is scripting and automation. So for example, you are given a task to identify, you are given some Excel sheet where you are given inquiries. For our institute, we get inquiries: student name, phone number, and which course they have inquired for. I would be having all this data in some Excel file. So if I want to find who inquired for Python out of many inquiries for different languages, I want to see only Python inquired people. Then that will definitely take, if you want to do manually, then definitely it will take some time, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on the number of inquiries. But same thing, if you are able to write some program which will open the file, which will read, which will scan the lines, and it will identify the number corresponding to Python language only, then that would be much more easier. Your program will, if you once you write the program, that program can complete maybe within 1 or 2 minutes, comparing to the manual effort 1 or 2 hours time and automated script which is consuming only 1 or 2 minutes. So definitely that will save your time. So that's the reason we need to know what is scripting and how to automate the thing. So related to that, we have few features like regular expressions, strings. Are important thing is file IO, how to open the file, how to read the line, how to extract the fields which you are interested in that line. So further related to that, we have few topics in scripting. In addition to that, we will be having basic introduction to OS module. File related commands would be because they have taken care of portability issues across different platforms related to file system, and we will be exploring what is OS module. Multi-threading, yes, we can definitely do parallel programming with multiple threads, and we can assign each thread to do some task. So for OS module threading, we require modules, some built-in packages. So this is what Python scripting course is all about. So it consists of basics, object-oriented, and scripting. And if you are interested in doing some project, yes, we can definitely guide you, but you have to sit here and work to complete it. So this is Python scripting, and we have second course that's called Advanced Python. The difference is this is Python scripting, which consists of basics, object-oriented, scripting. Even it covers some necessary modules like OS module, multi-threading, sys module. Okay. So in addition to that, project also you can do. Now, advanced Python consists of all the topics what we discussed in Python scripting plus few advanced topics. So we will be exploring more modules here for another 2 weeks. So Python scripting will take 4 weeks, whereas advanced Python first 4 weeks would be Python scripting course content. Then remaining 2 weeks would be introduction to how to explore different modules in Python, like NumPy. So NumPy with NumPy we can create multi-dimensional array, and we can store the data in tabular form, and we can apply different statistical methods, or we want to get random number generation. Okay, we can operate on matrix, or we can do scientific computations, mathematical things, linear algebra problems related to that. There are some built-in functions. Okay, pandas. So this would be very useful. Very useful. It has so many data structures which would be useful in data science, like series, frames, and how to read the data from Excel sheet, and how to operate on the data. And for visualization, we have matplotlib, using which we can do to draw the graphs like pie chart, bar chart, normal graphs. Okay, and socket programming, using which we can establish client server connection using OSI layer. So we need to follow those protocols. So related to that, there are some built-in modules here. So REST interface, we can get the formatted data from your web URL. So related to that also, we have some built-in module. So if you use that, we can get the formatted data into your Python environment, and we can store that data maybe in the form of Python dictionary here. So once you get the Python dictionary into your local Python program, you can operate on that data to process. Django is another framework, as we discussed, which is used for developing web applications. Django coordinates Python programming language for backend processing, and HTML to display whatever the process data into web browser. Or if you want to maintain the database at web server, we can maintain some database. So Django is a framework which coordinates SQL, Python, and HTML, other different language components. So if you are interested in learning web development, then you can opt for Django framework. CX Oracle, as I said, this would be the package or module which is used to connect to Oracle database. So using this, we can explore what are the APIs are available in CX4AKL, and we can like connect one API is there to which you have to pass some arguments like username, password, connection descriptor. Then it will establish the connection to the database. So from there onwards, you can give the command to remote database, and you can get back the result into your Python environment. Collections. So data structures, this topic is very important. So in Python, we have so many built-in structures like list, tuples, sets, dictionaries, even NumPy and pandas. Okay. In addition to that, if you want to use more advanced structures like stacks, queues, hashing, trees, graphs, all these things, then there are some modules like in Java, like we used to have in Java. So same thing here, where here also we are having some set of built-in data structures. So even Python games, yeah, we can do a lot of things with Python games, but the limitation for this module section is we'll be exploring, and we are giving introduction, maybe 1 or 2 sessions for each topic, but you can explore each topic to any level. So this is what Python, advanced Python. So Python scripting is 4 weeks, which consists of basics, object-oriented programming, scripting, where that is for 4 months. Whereas advanced Python would be Python scripting course content, which is for 4 weeks, plus 2 more weeks to explore this module section. Yeah. So let us see in the website. I hope everyone might have visited this website. So if you see here, Python in menu, Python is there. If you click on any one of these, I'm clicking on advanced Python classroom. You can see the course content here, whatever the differences between Python and advanced Python and Python scripting I have given. Even we have one more course on Django. You can just go through this. If you want detailed course content, we have uploaded here. Okay, so here in detail we have given the course content. What is the topic? What kind of subtopics we are covering in this particular topic? And what kind of lab programs we would be doing related to that particular topic. For example, simple thing, if you see here, branching. For example, I want to explain about if-else. Maybe many of you know already some other programming language like C, C++, or Java. So you can compare what is if statement, if-else, how that was working in other language, and you can compare here how the syntax is changed. The functionality might be same here. Okay, only syntax would be changing. You need to understand what is the new syntax and how to use that. Just for that purpose, maybe we will explain what is the topic, like if else, how it works. Then I may write one program and I will ask you to write few programs in the class itself. So even we have given few programs related to each of the topic. So for example, branching, what topics we are discussing and what kind of programs we are doing. For most of the topics we have given like that. What is the topic, what kind of subtopics, and what kind of programs we would be doing here. So like this, we have given course content in detail. You can go through that. So nearly many topics are there here. Collections, data science, related topics, series, frames, introduction to Pygames, web scraping, inter-process communication, remote command execution. Okay. And introduction to Django. Here we are covering few basic things related to Django framework. Yeah, that's it from my side. You can visit this website. Okay, yeah, thank you.